Hello, my friends. It's Dr. Heather, the Naturopathic Pharmacist again, and I'm still continuing my discussion on leaky gut. If you're just now clicking in, I invite you to go to part 1, where I talk about what in the heck leaky gut actually is. And this part 2 was about the symptoms that someone would have if they were experiencing leaky gut. So some of the things that we would look for to say, let's look at the digestive system of this person and see how things are going. For this one, part 3, I wanted to talk about how do we identify issues with leaky gut. And that's a challenge, and a lot of people are doing a lot of different types of testing to identify if someone has leaky gut. Again, in part 1, I talked about how we have this gut lining that we want to stay healthy. And so there are some markers to look at to notice if those structures, those cells that are supposed to be tightly packed are spread too far or damaged, that things are leaking through. And so we can look at the blood a lot of times to see what is hanging out in the bloodstream. Because if things are hanging out in the bloodstream that are not supposed to be absorbed, they're getting through somehow. And that's a sign of leaky gut. So we can look for certain markers that are in the bloodstream that shouldn't necessarily be there, that will let us know about the structure of the gut and the health of the gut. Another thing tests often look for is candida, which is a yeast overgrowth. And if your gut isn't full of really good bacteria, then it gives an opportunity for candida to overgrow and take over. It's okay to have some, we all have some candida, but if it's overgrown, then that's a sign too that things are not so healthy for your good bacteria in your gut. So basically, there are quite a few tests out there. There's one in particular that I use for my clients. But I would just suggest work with a functional medicine, work with an integrative medicine practitioner, work with a holistic practitioner, someone who has access to some of these tests and can be able to interpret those tests appropriately. You want to ask a lot of questions about that. But there are some tests to find out if there's certain things in the bloodstream that shouldn't be there, and also tell us about the structure of the gut lining and how it's functioning. So work with a naturopath, work with an integrative or functional medicine practitioner, and we can likely get you set up with some testing to find out how things are looking. All right, thanks so much. If you have any thoughts on this or any of the other videos, please make sure to put them in the comments. I'd love to talk with you about them or answer your questions. And stay tuned for part 4, where we talk about the treatment for leaky gut.